Who cares about Fender guitars anyway? Hey everybody, Jayce Allan here. Welcome back to the channel. This past week, the word on every guitar YouTuber's channel was Fender. Oh my God, Fender. Fender is terrible. Boycott Fender. Fender, Fender, Fender. The manufactured outrage is almost laughable, but here's the thing. Anyone with zero stake in Fender could see this coming a mile away. For those of us that play guitars and not brands, logos, or headstock shapes, the idea that a huge conglomerate like Servco Pacific, who is a majority owner of Fender, might do something that large corporations tend to do, like try to crush smaller competition, is, well, very on brand. Fender is not a guitar company. They are a brand. I did a video about how Gibson is no longer selling guitars, but is selling a lifestyle and an image. And the same holds true for Fender. In fact, I would argue that the only major electric guitar brand in the US actually selling guitars is PRS. Paul Reed Smith, while extremely obnoxious at times, is the ultimate salesman and is very clearly passionate about his guitars. That's the way Fender used to be, back when Leo owned it. He created a new way to build guitars, and he developed a small company to do just that. The company was later sold to CBS. Yes, that's CBS, the television network, for those of you who remember what television is. Once that happened, Fender was no longer a guitar company, it was a brand. It was an image, a lifestyle. So Leo, still passionate about guitars, once his non-compete expired, started G&L Guitars. G&L became what Fender was originally, a small guitar company owned by people passionate about making guitars. Then late last year, Fender bought the G&L brand, thus securing Leo's image and intellectual property. Because even Fender knows they are not selling guitars, they are selling an image. And Leo's image is an integral part of the branding. Then, Fender very unceremoniously dismantled the G&L brand, crushing it and any legacy that Leo had hoped to maintain. There's no doubt that Fender invented the Stratocaster and Telecaster guitar shapes as we know them today. Leo patented those designs. His patents ran out in the late 70s, I think it was. The company trademarked the headstock shapes and of course their logo, but the body shapes were never trademarked. Probably because when you look at those shapes, you don't think of a woman despite what Fender now wants you to believe. No, instead you think of a guitar. What do Gibson, PRS, Fender, Ibanez, and any other electric guitar brand have in common? They all look like guitars. In fact, the shape of the acoustic guitar is widely attributed to a 19th century Spanish luthier named Antonio de Torres Huardo, who also claimed his guitar shape was modeled after the curves of a woman. So is Fender admitting in court that they stole their design and the female form premise from a luthier from the late 1800s? Maybe Leo Fender himself knew the history of the acoustic guitar shape. So to all the people out there making statements like, why don't these companies come up with their own shape? Or they're stealing Fender's design. I would ask, why didn't Leo come up with his own shape? Or Martin? They all owe their guitar body designs to Antonio de Torres Huardo. And actually, he was copying the 1590 Portuguese luthier Belchior Jayce, who built one of the earliest known guitars, and surprise, it's also shaped like a woman, or a guitar-shaped woman, or a woman-shaped guitar. Who really knows at this point? So it's really interesting to see guys like Tim Pierce and Rhett Shull basically shaming Fender for this move. These are guys that have made some share of their YouTube careers pushing the major brands like PRS, Gibson, and, yes, Fender. Is it possible that Tim and Rhett know who really pays their bills? And that would be their subscribers, by the way. And if the subscribers aren't happy, ain't nobody happy. Because even people who like Fender guitars feel like this is a huge dick move on the part of Fender. I mean, Gibson has basically become the butt of many jokes about how litigious they are. Litigious means they like to sue people, by the way. But Fender always seemed to be above that sort of nonsense. Fender always seemed content to simply sell guitars. The same guitars that they've been selling for 80 years, yet claiming to be somehow innovative. But what do I know anyway? I'm just a mediocre guitar player sitting in his basement making videos about how brands like Firefly, Donner, or Harley Benton are just as good as Fender. Because you see, to me, A guitar is a tool for making music. Sure, they look cool. Sure, Fender is an iconic brand, but with that legacy comes a very high price tag. And as they have proven with the new Vintera 3 line, that price tag seemingly has no limits. I have no problem with Fender selling guitars for whatever price they can get for them. That's how our capitalist society works. But our system also works on competition, which is why I promote cheap and more budget-friendly options. And yes, in many cases, they are just as good. Because the Asian companies building these guitars care about making a quality product. People like to claim in the comments of my videos that somehow, because the people making these guitars are Asian, they can't possibly have the same passion and connection to the instrument as Americans or Europeans. That somehow building a quality guitar is only reserved for American guitar companies. What a load of crap. Asian companies have been kicking our ass in manufacturing for decades. Foreign imports basically upended the American auto industry. And again, that's how our system works. Competition is supposed to make everyone make better products and even help keep the prices of those products low. So maybe that's what this is really about. Fender has probably seen their market share dwindle over the past decade as CNC machine manufacturing means that just about anyone can build a quality guitar. They are also seeing their loyal fan base age out. Once all the late boomers and early Gen Xers who know and love the Fender brand based only on the name quietly exit the stage of life, they're going to have to figure out a way to market their guitars to millennials, Gen Y, Xennials, or whatever generations come next. People thought companies like Sears and Kodak would be around forever. Just because Fender is one of the most popular guitar makers in the world doesn't mean they always will be. Wasn't AOL the largest internet provider at one point? The point is, brands come and go. So what better way to stay on top of the competition than by eliminating them? I guess Fender has taken a page out of the playbooks of the giant tech companies like Microsoft and Meta. Fender wants to be the only kid on the block making Stratocasters, and presumably Telecasters are next, and so on. But if Gibson has taught us anything, it's that even if you have a trademark on your body design, you can't stop guitar makers from making guitars that look like yours. Basically, all these companies need to do is slightly alter the shapes of their Strat-style guitar bodies, and they can claim that they are not the same thing. I think Fender is simply counting on stopping other builders from making Strat-style guitars based on threats alone. Because once this shit makes it into court where the defendants actually show up to defend themselves, Fender is going to get crushed. So all the panic and outrage and claims about the sky falling in the guitar world are really just a way for YouTubers to capitalize on the current hysteria and also try to be on the right side of history when it comes to their subscribers. If 90% of your subscribers are pissed off at Fender, then dear viewer, the content creators better damn well be pissed off too. And in another week or two, we'll all be obsessing over some overpriced effects pedal anyway. Fender has to stay relevant. They have a shiny new CEO, and they purchased Leo Fender's intellectual rights. They are on the highest sugar rush right now, flexing their legal muscles like Gibson on crystal meth. But here's the thing. Gibson sued Heritage Guitars over their guitar shape, and Heritage is still making guitars shaped like Gibson's, and doing it better, I might add. I think they sued PRS too. Remember the big news conference a couple years ago where Gibson seized a bunch of counterfeit guitars at the Port of Los Angeles? Yeah, total PR stunt. These lawsuits are as much about theater and pushing their brand names as they are about actually protecting their intellectual property. At the end of the day, Fender is in business to make money. They are selling nostalgia, lifestyle, and image. How else do you explain the Vintera 3? Should you boycott Fender or burn your Fender guitars? No, because it will have zero effect. The only way boycotts work is if everyone boycotts, and I don't see real hardcore fans of Fender boycotting them anytime soon. And for fuck's sake, if you burn your Fender in protest, you're not a badass, you're just an idiot. That's all I've got for you this time. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again.